right. So welcome everybody. It's good to see you. I guess I'm going to, I guess in the view, there's no killing time, but I'm going to kill a little time in, relatively speaking. I think the precise way to say that there is no time, so there's nothing to kill and nothing to start. That sounds like a Dzogchen thing to say. I'm not sure. We do have some things coming up that you may want to look into. We have the masterclass that's on September 18th. And I do have the subject, tuning into Buddha vision, one with ourselves. So we obviously would love to see you all there, invite you all to attend that. Still looking for the Lama here. I guess while we wait, and Menla, please let me know if you do see him come in. He can sometimes come under a number of different names, as the Buddha could be seen in all things, all people. So you never know quite what his handle might be this day. Ah. Let me see. I found him hiding amongst the weeds.
That's where life happens, in the weeds. The weeds can grow anywhere. Isn't that a message for us all? Not just in a greenhouse and special environment. Maybe that's our message for today. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day it is. Sunday here in the Lake District of New England, Massachusetts. What a beautiful day. Everybody's saying these days, where did the summer go? But I'm thinking, where did you go while it was summer? There's probably still more summer to come, who knows, with the crazy weather. The environment does seem to be a little agitated as well as strained, and I hope we're all paying attention to that kind of issue and doing our best to take care of our home, the earth, thinking globally and acting locally here. We take care of each other's and ourselves and our local garden and ourself. I was 6 foot tall, 3 feet wide garden, as Thoreau called it. My erstwhile neighbor here in Massachusetts. And good morning. Ah, what a beautiful day. Thoreau reminds me, I hope you're all familiar with the early American pre-Buddhist Buddhists, Henry David Thoreau, and his marvelous book about a year, or is it 2, a year on Walden Pond, living like a virtual hermit almost. And his teacher, his guru, Reverend Ralph Waldo Emerson, the first American philosopher, transcendentalists, and others. Thoreau said he needed to walk in the woods and outside 4 hours a day, or he became rusty. I can relate to that. In fact, one of his great essays, and this goes back to before the Civil War, like 1820s and 30s. They were real pioneers here on the Western frontier, coming out from the ocean, the East Coast, Boston, Virginia, etc., the East Coast. Here in Concord, just 20 miles inland, the western frontier. Thoreau wrote a great essay called Nature that people are still reading, that inspired people like John Muir and other naturalists, Rachel Carson and so many, which now results in the ecological consciousness movement over the last century, or 70 years at least. I myself love walking. I just came back from a bike ride around some of the ponds and lakes here. I like to count the length of my ride by how many bodies of water I can pass on it. I believe Thoreau has another essay called Walking. Who can remember? But I do. If you look at on the Dzogchen website or in our Lama's Lineage and Legacy Project archives, I believe I did publish an article called Walking and talked about my own walking meditation practice, co-meditating in nature, meditation in action, and so on. Walking, which is so important practice, like breathing for us Buddhist bipeds. And when I say Buddhist, I'm being a little facetious. Breathing, like walking, so important for all of us bipeds, no different than any of the others. And standing up straight and standing up for ourselves too, and claiming our place, sitting on our Buddha seat, standing on our Buddha lotus. As the tradition says, the Eastern tradition, Buddhist tradition says, when Buddha was born, he took 7 steps and a lotus grew up under each foot, and he said, I am the one. Of course, this is a translation. He may or may not have used the first person singular word I, but you got the point. Also, it may be metaphorical that we have to make our 7 steps and claim our singularity and our wholeness, not narcissistically, solipsistically, self-centeredly, but just in integrity and menschkeit, becoming a mensch, a real human, a decent person, a good citizen, even a bodhisattva, an altruistic awakener, a bodhisattva, compassionator. What Trungpa Rinpoche called the spiritual warrior, that's a little martial for my taste as a translation, but bodhisattva, awakening being, awakening oneself, awakening others, awakening the world in a wakefulness. Not just thinking about the goal of enlightenment, but a wakefulness now, awakening, being fully present and accountable. I love walking. I have friends who have made walking meditation their main meditation, especially those who couldn't sit because of knee pain or back pain, those who are active and hyperactive, those who love to be outside. The Swiss Vipassana teacher, my best friend, Fred von Orman, I remember him doing as much walking meditation, slow walking meditation and sitting meditation in Bodh Gaya around the Bodhi tree in our 10-day Vipassana Insight Meditation mindfulness retreats, and in Bari at the Insight Meditation Society, where spawned the Western mindfulness movement in the 70s, still going now. Fred loves walking meditation. We used to share a hut in Bodh Gaya and in Dharamsala near the Dalai Lama's monastery for a while there in the 70s in our Buddhist studies and practice time. So don't overlook walking and co-meditating with nature, co-meditating in movement. Perhaps for you it's yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, treadmills, ellipticals. These are all excellent places for cultivating mindful awareness, vigilant moment-to-moment attentiveness, choiceless awareness, non-reactive observation, whatever you want to call it, all summed up in mindfulness, mindful awareness. Extreme sports, extreme exertion is another way people get there into the zone. I'll leave that to you to explore. The Olympics just passed by Tokyo Olympics, the 2020 Olympics. Every time I saw that on the TV screen, I thought replaying something from last year. Time is so relative. There's so many factoids these days. In other words, seeming facts, which may or may not be true, false advertising. But finally, I started to understand it was last year's postponed because of the pandemic Olympics occurring this summer. You have to keep your eyes peeled out here in the frontier of consciousness, on the path of awakening, of wakefulness. I love walking this path, this way, following in the footsteps of those who have gone before. I do not seek to imitate them. I seek what they sought, as the haiku master Zen man Basho sang 400 years ago in Kyoto, Japan. Check him out. Basho, who wrote the old pond, the old frog in the pond haiku, the seminal haiku of Japanese literature. Okay, here it is. Let's class it up a little here. I'll give it to you in the original, of course, in my Brooklyn pronunciation, but I lived in Kyoto, taught English, studied Zen for a year in 74 and 5, studied haiku and Chinese, ancient Chinese poetry and Zen Buddhism, etc. And Shingon, Tantric Buddhism in Japan, Vajrayana, yes, there's also that school in Japan. So Basho, the seminal haiku master, 400 years ago, he chanted, he sang, Furuwakeya, Kawazu Tobikomo, Mizo no Oto. Did you catch that? You taking notes, Leslie? In English, there are so many translations. The old pond, a frog jumps in, plop. And my favorite part of that is the plop, which has also been translated as splash and others synonyms, rough synonyms. In Japan, it's mizo no oto. Oto, it's an onomatopoeic sound, the sound of water. Old pond, frog jumps in, plop. If you don't know much about haiku or even art, you wonder, what does that mean? Art and literature. Maybe when you look at a painting or sculpture, what does that mean is not the main question. It may be the first question, or liking or disliking, or how do I feel? But we could talk about what the old frog is, the pond is, and the plop, the splash. Perhaps the old pond is the universe. Perhaps the frog is oneself or the self. You, me. Perhaps. This is my interpretation. Perhaps the splash is our life. Perhaps the splash is us landing. A splash landing. I never thought of that before. How perfect. The old pond, the ancient, some said ancient, the ancient pond, the timeless universe. A frog jumps in. What better image of the self or oneself or the Zen man? The old pond, a frog jumps in or lands. Splash. Perhaps we think our life is more than just a plop, a momentary splash. And it is. Although some would say it's much ado about nothing. I think that was Willie Shake. Who can remember? Perhaps some say it's a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Maybe that was the Fork Man Who can remember? Does it matter? There it is. I think we'll give a little gong for this. For those with ears to hear. See? You'll see. I love haiku. For those of you who are inspired to write it, that's one of the best ways to start children writing poetry. No, it doesn't have to be exactly 17 syllables, even if you're writing in Japanese, which most of us are not. Free American haiku. There are books and anthologies of it. Check it out. Don't ask Basho, ask Google. Old communications. Technology arrives. Whoa! My high-tech haiku for today. You see, it's a spontaneous utterance, like a snapshot of the moment. Often in 3 lines of 5, 7, 5 syllables, but you don't have to adhere to that. When I taught the kindergarten kids for a while English in Japan, I asked them to write a haiku, a Christmas haiku. One wrote, "I'm like a Christmas tree. My glasses are stars." How cool is that? You didn't even have to say, "I feel like this or that." And haiku is more transpersonal. There's no complications in that. Anyway, we overeducated, entitled white folk can enjoy it and pass it on and free the children, all people, artists, in the art of living, not just need specialist experts with degrees to be poet or artist. Haiku is a great way in. Check it out. Children of Buddha. Maybe that's what Buddha meant when he took his 7 steps, according to tradition, upon being born, and said, another translation has it, "In this universe, I am the only one," or "I am the one," or "I am the waited for one." Anyway, just having a good time here, enjoying the sacred Dharma, the poetry of being. We are what we be, what we do, who we are. All the parts of ourselves. At one level, from one point of view, nothing to get rid of, nothing to change, and nothing to add. We don't need to add a Buddha head on top of our head like a gargoyle. I'm remembering a cartoon-like utterance somebody said in the relational wars. You remember Dostoevsky? He said, the existentialist Dostoevsky, and I recommend to you one of the greatest novels ever written, the Russian classic, The Brothers Dostoevsky, as I always call it, the Brothers Karamazov, and you'll find a Western novelist's, existentialist's portrayal of a guru there, the starets, the wise man who's the master, the spiritual teacher of the acolyte, the youngest brother of the 3 brothers, Dostoevsky. Very interesting. Dostoevsky says, "Be kind," or something like this. Really, I shouldn't quote people. I say, he said something like, "Be kind and patient with others. They too are on the battlefield of life." That was his kind of existential, pessimistic outlook. But it goes for us too. Be kind. Everybody's struggling and suffering in such many similar ways. So when we put ourselves, all of our who we are in service of higher things, we merge with the Dharma path. So it comes to mind the saying that I was segueing into in the relational wars, like Dostoevsky's battlefield of life that we're all on. His view, not mine exactly. The saying, I love you unconditionally. I love you as you are. Now change. Although most of us have gotten beyond that point, we're a little more like, I love you just as you are. But you could use a little tweaking, just a little tweaking, which of course I know, what it should be. But more pertinently to our subject of spiritual awakening and transformation, how about, and let's not hammer too hard on the I here, the first person pronoun, but we have to talk in English for subject, object, and action. I'm perfect, whole, and complete as I am. Maybe I need a little tweaking too. That's the great perfection view, the absolute perfect as it is, and the relative evolutionary progress still intending to contribute to a better life and a better world. I'm seeing some nice haiku coming up on the screen. I think that last one, since it was about flies and mosquitoes, it must be one of the thousands that Isha wrote, the pauper Isha, who wrote so many haiku to fleas, gnats, and mosquitoes. Unfortunately, the haiku that flashes here doesn't have a name or an attribution, but that's life in the internet age. Anyway, we've had our poetic moment. I've enjoyed it. I hope you had too. Walking the path together, bringing whatever we are and have into the path. Not trying to get rid of our talents or creative imagination in order to flatline our brain or make the 300 kinds of cheese into just all cream cheese, as some people seem to think meditation does. Stop thinking, stop imagining. An Asian teacher told one of my friends, who is a well-known surrealist painter in Paris, who became a Buddhist nun, I don't know why you're painting. All that modern art is just neurosis splashed on canvas. That's an interesting point worth thinking about. Why are we doing anything? But I guess he was not a painter. Maybe she is. And that's her true vocation, her dharma, her Zen, like so many Zen masters with their incredible Zen paintings and haiku and other creations. Like ourselves with our incredible original creations. Like this moment, like this meditation of non-meditation, an incredible creation. Who's the artist here? Who's producing this? Let's see. Check it out. The Buddha's last words after many of his talks, sermons, lectures, whatever you want to call them, teachings. He always they say he always ended with the phrase, the Pali phrase, since that's supposed to be the language of ancient Buddhism. He probably talked Prakrit or something else, but we give it to Pali for credit. The Pali phrase, Ehipassiko, come and see. Ehipassiko, come and see for yourself. Or as I like to say, help yourself. Maybe the Western frontier Buddha, the cowboy Buddhists say, come and get it. If you don't have it, come see if you can get it. It's a beautiful day. Daniel Jina Chasa Pemagesa Dambala Yatsen choking udrunye, pemajane she sudra. Kodu kandro mampakur, nye kj suda truki. Shingila chisha suso, guru pema siddhi hum. Om Ahom Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Om Ahom Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Om. Imaho, way to go. Enjoy the show. The best show, the only show in town. Imaho. Just sitting, just breathing, just being present and aware. Open, friendly, interested, yet not overly fascinated. Just gazing, not looking for anything or at anything in particular. Sky gazing, space mingling, infinite dissolving. Namkhai Naljor in Tibetan Sky Space Union Yoga. Natural meditation. Starting to feel like a cult master looking into my eyes, everybody's eyes. Whatever. I contain multitudes, as Whitman sang. When I'm gone, look for me at the grass beneath your feet. Thus, blades of grass. Breathing out and letting go, dissolving. Of course, you're allowed to breathe in, that's very important, but focus a little more on the out breath today. Not straining it, just like the Wizard of Oz, be the Wizards of Oz. Oh, Eureka, wondrous. Thank you. Amen. Yes. Into this empty, infinite, oceanic existence, our stream of being, our clear light, mind, as the Dalai Lama calls it, arrives, lands. The sound and fury. Imaho. Enjoy the buoyant joy of unmeditation, of pre-enlightenment, goalless, aimless, completeness. Imaho-ness. Yes. Ah. Ah. Eyes open, ears open, nose open, mouth open, throat open, heart open, chest open, diaphragm open, anus open, decontracted, heart and mind totally open, at ease, natural, not stretching, not standing on tiptoe, just open, friendly, at ease. Like the drill sergeant says, she says first, she says, attention, then at ease. It's like the two stages of Buddhist meditation, concentration and panoramic awareness or insight. At ease. Awareness alone, awareness aware of awareness, minding the mind, letting things go, letting come and go means letting be, cultivating great equanimity, spiritual detachment, non-attachment, choiceless awareness, pure presence, what we call in the Dzogchen tradition Rigpa, gnosis, infinite wakefulness, infinite awareness, innate wakefulness, nowness, awareness, moment by moment, presence, presencing, Rigpa exercise, Rigpa practice. See Rigpa run, run Rigpa run. See spot run. Enjoy, the buoyant joy of Kunta Zampo's meditation. All good, all complete, all together. Imaho. this moment, only moment, this breath, only breath. I alone. I means you, oneself alone. The only one, the singularity, alone together, right here, right now. Take it, friends. Dig deep. Turn the searchlight, the spotlight inward. It's beautiful. Might be surprised. It's beautiful. Assume your Buddha seat. Let go and let be. Rest at the origin of all things. The still axis of the turning axle at the center of the turning wheel. The eye in the center of the storm, port in the storm of samsara, of worldly confusion and greed. Choiceless awareness, pure presence, Rigpa. Rigpa is the ground of wakefulness. Rigpa is the path, the practice, exercising Rigpa, the innate wakefulness. And Rigpa is the result, stabilizing, integrating, unifying the oneness in the many. The heart center, the heart of the matter. One taste. The great Tao, the great flow, and its powers beyond those of mortal monks. Imaho. Like super monk. I hear the super monk sound, song. Imaho. Able to leap to all self-limitations at a single bound. Imaho. One with one and all. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Mantra 3. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. That's Om Mani Padme Hum calligraphed on a skisha calligraphy board behind me. Om Mani Padme Hum by I forget who, some lama or mama. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. You see that mantra written on rocks, large and small, or carved all over the Himalayas, especially in Tibet and Bhutan. Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of great compassion and love. Om Mani Padme Hum, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Chenrezig, Kuan Yin. Om Mani Padme Hum, Tara's brother. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Oh, the jewel is in lotus, the Buddha is within one spiritual blossoming. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, the jewel in lotus. Om Mani Padme Hum, I mean jewel. Om Mani Padme Hum, this precious life, this precious you. Om Mani Padme Hum, precious human existence, precious being. What a gift, what a miracle, the present. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. So sweet, Om Mani Padme Hum, thank you. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Life is precious, handle the prayer. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Life is tenuous. Don't wait till you get there. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Be here now. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. On evergreen truth. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Smell the roses. Om Mani along the way. Om Mani Padme Hum. Don't wait till for someday. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. The needle stuck. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. The mantra machine. Om Mani Padme Hum. The jukebox. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Somebody push the button. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Oh, thank you. Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. May the Dharma wheel ever keep turning. Om Mani Padme Hum. Radiating, imbuing everything. Om Mani Padme Hum. All sounds, a mantra, everything divine. The world, the Buddha field, the heaven, the paradise. Om Mani Padme Hum. Let's make it so. Make it so. Number one. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Ring them bells. Celebrate, not celebrate. Imaho. Joyous Dharma. Viva la Dharma. One Dharma. Truths are many, truth is one. Imaho. Om Mani Padme Hum. There it is, right behind my head. Inscribe it on one's heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. Well, somehow we seem to have wasted another perfectly good Sunday morning hour, as Click and Clack, the Boston radio personalities would say, from Car Talk. Yes, Car Talk. I have no interest in cars, but I can't stop listening to Click and Clack talk. They're the funniest. These two garage mechanic brothers who actually went to MIT but own a car garage. Funny. I can see I didn't leave any time for questions, but maybe you can ask the inner guru. You can check up with your own highest intuition and your own studies and learning. Since we started off in the poetic vein, talked a little bit of haiku and nature and walking and the transcendentalists, the first American philosophers and pre-Buddhist bodhisattvas, etc. I published an essay once called, what the hell was it called? The Floating World, Haiku and the Way of Zen. No, The Floating World, Zen and the Way of Haiku. You can look it up. Hopefully you can find it on our website, Tokyo Center, Westsurrey.org website, or 3LP, Lama's Lineage and Legacy Project, archives that Sarah, Tricky Bauer, Lisette Cooper, Scott Diego, and others, Leslie McLean and others worked their butts off to put together, to pass on what we've been doing for the last 30 or 40 years and the lineage tradition of centuries and even millennium. The new times and the new world. I myself learned haiku from Zen teachers and others. There are many books on it. You can look them up. Too many to mention. R.H. Blythe was a pioneer with his books about haiku and others. What a pleasure to get together on this beautiful day and share Dharma, share in the feast of spirit, raise the spirit, come meditate together. Take care, stay healthy, be aware. Thank you. Love to one and all.
Thank you, Lama. Thank you, everybody. Masterclass September 18th. Take a look. As always, if you feel inclined to please donate on Zochen website, Zochen Center. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week.
Thank you, Pete, for your help, and to all of you for helping us all get along the path together.